Illustration 2.7. G was born in Lahore in 1946. He has been staying in England since 1970. He came to visit India on 3/10/2003 and returns on 30/3/2004. Determine his residential status for assessment year 2004-05. During the previous year 2003-04, G stays in India for 180 days. 29 plus 30 plus 31 plus 31 plus 29 plus 30. He does not satisfy the first condition of 182 days. Further, he also does not satisfy the second condition because 60 days will be substituted by 182 days as he is a person of Indian origin. He was born in undivided India and visits India during the previous year. He is therefore a non-resident. ठीक है. Illustration number 2.8. G was born in England in 1966. His father was born in America in 1936. G's grandfather was born in Lahore in 1916. Will G be a resident in India if he visits India for 180 days during the previous year 2003-04? No, as conditions 1 and 2 of category A are not satisfied. In condition number 2, the period of 60 days will be substituted by 182 days since G is a person of Indian origin, as his grandfather was born in undivided India. ठीक है. Illustration 2.9. A citizen of India left India on 6/6/1990 for employment abroad. He does not come to India up to previous year 2000-2001. During 2001-2 and 2002-3, he visited India for 145 days and 195 days respectively. In the previous year 2003-04, he came to India on 7/4/2003 and left on 30th November 2003. Determine his residential status for assessment year 2004-05. Solution category A conditions. Previous year 2003-04. Stay in India is for 238 days. 24 plus 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 31 plus 30 plus 31 plus 30. He is therefore resident in India. कॉन्सेप्ट अगर आप लोगों को समझ में आया तो इलस्ट्रेशन समझना आसान है. अगर आप लोगों को इलस्ट्रेशन नहीं समझ में आ रहा है तो पहले जो पढ़ाए गए जो कंडीशंस है उसको वापस से सुनिए. Category B conditions. Previous year number of days stay a resident non-resident. 2002-03 195 days resident. 2001-2 145 days non-resident. As he is a citizen of India and visits India during the previous year 2002-03 and 2001-2, the period of stay in India shall be substituted by 182 days instead of 60 days. As he is a resident only for one previous year out of 10 preceding previous year, he does not satisfy the first condition of category B, that is being resident in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. There is no need to see the second condition of category B as the first condition is not satisfied. Second condition क्या था? प्रीवियस ईयर को छोड़कर पहले के जो 7 प्रीवियस ईयर है उसमें कम से कम 730 दिन भारत में रहना। ही इज़ देयरफॉर नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया। ये इंडिविजुअल का यहाँ कंप्लीट हुआ। अब हम लोग पढ़ेंगे हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली। हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली, रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑफ हिंदू अनडिवाइडेड फैमिली, HUF सेक्शन 6(2). When is HUF said to be resident in India? A HUF is said to be resident in India in any previous year in every case except where during that year the control and management of its affairs is situated wholly outside India. मतलब रेसिडेंट HUF का जो रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस है वो HUF का कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजिंग पावर से जुड़ा हुआ है। अगर कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजिंग पावर 100% इंडिया के अंदर है या इंडिया के अंदर भी है, बाहर भी है, इंडिया के बाहर भी है, तो इंडिया के अंदर भी है, ये अगर 2 कंडीशंस फुलफिल होती है तो HUF रेसिडेंट है बोलकर माना जाएगा। और अगर होली आउटसाइड इंडिया है, कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ द अफेयर्स ऑफ HUF इज होली आउटसाइड इंडिया, कंप्लीटली आउटसाइड इंडिया, पूरी तरीके से भारत के अगर बाहर है तो अब उसको नॉन रेसिडेंट माना जाएगा। When is HUF said to be non-resident? A HUF is said to be non-resident in India if during the previous year the control and management of its affairs is situated wholly outside India. In other words, it will be non-resident in India if no part of the control and management of its affairs is situated in India. Control and management refers to the decisions taken regarding affairs of the HUF. The control and management lies at the place where decisions regarding the affairs of the HUF are taken. अब कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट से हम क्या समझेंगे? कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट का मतलब हो गया जो HUF है उसको उसका डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर, वो HUF कैसे चलेगा, क्या काम करेगा, कैसे चल रहा है, ये सब चीज़ का एनालिसिस, जो डिसीजन मेकिंग पावर है उसी को कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट बोला जाता है। Once the HUF is a resident in India, it is to be further determined whether it is a resident and ordinary resident in India or resident but not ordinary resident in India. एक बार अगर हम लोग को पता चल जाता है कि जो HUF है वो रेसिडेंट है, उसके बाद हम लोग को निकालना पड़ेगा कि वो HUF रेसिडेंट एंड ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट है या रेसिडेंट बट नॉट ऑर्डिनरीली रेसिडेंट है। तो ये जो है निकालने के लिए यहाँ पर कर्ता का काम आएगा। कर्ता, हेड ऑफ HUF इज कॉल्ड एज कर्ता, ठीक है। तो कर्ता जो है और इंडिविजुअल में जो कंसेप्ट था रेसिडेंट एंड ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट लगाने का वो सेम है। कर्ता अगर वो फॉलो करेगा तो HUF को रेसिडेंट एंड ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट बोला जाएगा। कर्ता अगर वो फॉलो नहीं करता है तो उसको नहीं माना जाएगा। क्या था कंडीशंस हम लोग पढ़ ही लेंगे। खैर, When is HUF said to be resident and ordinary resident in India? Like in case of individuals, Section 6(6) states that HUF shall be said to be not ordinarily resident in India if the Karta of the HUF satisfies any of the following 2 conditions. He has been a non-resident in India in 9 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year, or he has been in India for a period of 729 days or less in 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. Deriving from the above, the HUF shall be said to be resident and ordinary resident in India if the Karta of the HUF satisfies both the following conditions. He मतलब कर्ता must be a resident in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year, and he must be in India for at least 730 days during 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. When is HUF said to be resident but not ordinarily resident in India? Section 66B. A HUF which is resident in India is said to be resident but not ordinarily resident in India during the relevant previous year if the manager, that is Karta, of the HUF does not satisfy any one or both of the conditions mentioned in clause A and B above. ये क्या वो सेम है जैसे इंडिविजुअल्स में सेम है, सेम टू सेम है. For determining whether HUF is a resident or not, the residential status of its Karta for the relevant previous year is of no relevance. But for determining whether HUF is ordinarily resident or in India or not, Karta status for the preceding years becomes irrelevant. Excepting individual and HUF, all other persons are classified either as resident or non-resident. They are not to be further classified as ordinary resident or as not ordinary resident. सिर्फ कर्ता और सिर्फ HUF और इंडिविजुअल के केस में ही रेसिडेंट का फर्दर क्लासिफिकेशन किया जाता है कि वो रेसिडेंट एंड ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट है या रेसिडेंट एंड नॉट ऑर्डिनरी रेसिडेंट है. इसको छोड़ कर बाकी जितने भी पर्सन्स है, चाहे वो कंपनी हो, चाहे वो एसोसिएशन ऑफ पर्सन्स हो, चाहे वो बॉडी ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स हो, ये क्लासिफिकेशन नहीं होता. लोगों के बीच में सिर्फ ब्रॉड वाला क्लासिफिकेशन होता है कि वो रेसिडेंट है या नॉन रेसिडेंट है. इलस्ट्रेशन 2.10 देखते हैं. ड्यूरिंग द प्रीवियस ईयर 2003-04, R and Sons HUF was partly controlled from India by its Karta R, who is citizen of India but stays outside India. For the purpose of managing the affairs of the HUF, R has been regularly visiting India. Determine the residential status of the HUF for the assessment year 2004-05. If R has been visiting India for 100 days every year for the last 12 years. R has been visiting India for 110 days every year for the last 12 years. R has been visiting India for the last 12 years. During the immediately preceding 4 previous years, he was in India for 50 days every year and prior to that for 200 days every year. Solution देखते हैं. During the previous year 2003-04, the control and management of the affairs of the HUF was partly situated in India. Partly India, partly बाहर, तो resident. Hence, the HUF is resident for the assessment year 2004. ठीक है. It is further to be examined whether the HUF can be said to be resident and ordinarily resident in India. For this purpose, the Karta has to satisfy both the following conditions. First, he Karta has been resident in India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year, and he has been in India for a period of 730 days or more in 7 previous years immediately preceding the relevant previous year. In case A, R does not satisfy the second condition, as during the 7 years preceding the relevant previous years, he is in India for only 700 days. 100 days के लिए आता है, 7 साल में 700 दिन होगा. Therefore, the HUF shall be not ordinarily resident in India. In case B, R satisfies both the above conditions. Therefore, the HUF is resident and ordinarily resident in India. In case C, R was non-resident for 4 preceding previous years, but prior to that he was resident. Hence, the first condition of category B, being resident in at least 2 out of 10 preceding years, is satisfied. Further, he has been in India for 800 days during 7 years preceding the relevant previous year. Therefore, the second condition of being in India for 730 days or more is also satisfied. Hence, the HUF is resident and ordinarily resident in India. ठीक है, अब हम लोग पढ़ेंगे रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑफ फर्म, एसोसिएशन ऑफ पर्सन्स, बॉडी ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स एंड ऑफ अदर पर्सन्स एक्सेप्टिंग कंपनी, कंपनी को छोड़ करके, क्योंकि इनका सेम है, ट्रीटमेंट सेम है. ये सेक्शन 6.2 एंड 6.4 में बताया गया है. ट्रीटमेंट सेम है, जो HUF का है वही है. देख लेते हैं. These entities may either be resident or non-resident in India for any previous year. When is a firm, AOP, BOI, etc. said to be a resident in India? A firm, AOP, etc. is said to be resident in India in any previous year in all cases except where during that year the control and management of its affairs is situated wholly outside India. Same to same hai. In the case of a firm, the control and management is in the hands of the partners, and therefore if the partners generally meet in India regarding the affairs of the firm, then the firm is said to be resident in India. When is a firm, AOP, BOI, etc. said to be non-resident in India? If the control and management of the affairs of these entities is wholly out of India during the relevant previous year, then they are said to be non-resident. In other words, to be non-resident, no part of the control and management should be in India. For purpose of determining the residential status of a firm or a HUF, the residential status of the partner of the firm or the members of the HUF is immaterial, except in cases where the residence of the partners or the members of the family affects its control and management. Therefore, the mere fact that all the partners of a firm are residents in India did not necessarily imply that the firm is also resident in India, because it may so happen that the entire control and management of the affairs of the firm might be exercised from outside India. तो वही है जो HUF में था. अगर कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट या तो होली या पार्टली इंडिया में है तो रेसिडेंट, अगर होली आउटसाइड इंडिया है तो नॉन रेसिडेंट. और इसका फर्दर क्लासिफिकेशन नहीं होता. अब आ गया कंपनी. रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस ऑफ ए कंपनी, सेक्शन 6.3. When is a company said to be resident in India? A company is said to be a resident in India in any previous year if it is an Indian company. अगर वो इंडियन कंपनी है तो वो रेसिडेंट है. इंडियन कंपनी का मतलब क्या होता है? जनरली इंडियन कंपनी का मतलब वो होता है जो कि इंडियन कंपनीज एक्ट के अंदर में फॉर्म की जाती है, वो इंडियन कंपनी बोली जाती है. अगर वो इंडियन कंपनी है तो 100% वो रेसिडेंट है. और ड्यूरिंग द रिलेवेंट प्रीवियस ईयर द कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट ऑफ अफेयर्स इज सिचुएटेड होली इंडिया. यहाँ पर कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट है वो पूरी तरीके से भारत में होना पड़ेगा. अगर वो पार्टली होता है या होली आउटसाइड इंडिया होता है तब वो नॉन रेसिडेंट कहलाएगा. व्हेन इज ए कंपनी सेड टू बी नॉन रेसिडेंट इन इंडिया? A company will be a non-resident in any previous year if it is not an Indian company and the control and management of its affairs is situated wholly or partly outside India. ठीक है. A meaning of Indian company under Income Tax Act is different from the meaning given under the Companies Act 1956. For meaning of Indian company refer to chapter on assessment of companies. हम लोग assessment of कंपनीज पढ़ेंगे तो हम लोग को कंपनी का मीनिंग पता चल जाएगा. कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट रेफर्स टू द सेंट्रल कंट्रोलिंग पावर एंड नॉट टू द day-to-day affairs of the company. Generally, the control and management of the company's affairs is said to be situated at a place where the board of directors meetings are held. Therefore, in the case of a foreign company, if all the meetings of the board of directors are generally held in India and crucial decisions regarding the management of the company are taken in India, then the foreign company shall be a resident of India. तो जनरली कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट का मतलब हो गया कि कंपनी को कौन चलाता है, बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स. तो बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स की मीटिंग कहाँ होती है? अगर बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर्स की मीटिंग इन द केस ऑफ फॉरेन कंपनी 100% अगर इंडिया में होती है, पूरी तरीके से इंडिया में होती है, तो वो रेसिडेंट बोला जाएगा, वो फॉरेन कंपनी रेसिडेंट बोला जाएगा, अन्यथा नॉन रेसिडेंट. As the residential status is to be determined for every previous year, the control and management of a company should be examined for each previous year, as the company may change the place of its control and management and consequently its residential status may also change. प्रत्येक साल के लिए हम लोग को रेसिडेंशियल स्टेटस निकालना जरूरी है. It may be seen that in case of non-company associates other than individual, if during a previous year the control and management of their affairs is situated even partly, not wholly in India, they become resident in India. In the case of non-Indian company, such partial situation of the control and management of its affairs in India is not sufficient to make it a resident company. ये डिफरेंस बताया कि कंपनी के केस में फॉरेन कंपनी अगर है, अगर उसको रेसिडेंट होना है तो कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट पूरी तरीके से इंडिया में होना होगा. लेकिन HUF अगर हो, पार्टनरशिप फर्म हो, एसोसिएशन ऑफ पर्सनस हो, बॉडी ऑफ इंडिविजुअल्स हो, इन सब केसेस में अगर कंट्रोल एंड मैनेजमेंट फुल्ली है तब तो रेसिडेंट होगा ही होगा, अगर पार्टली भी है तो भी रेसिडेंट हो जाएगा. चलिए आज हम लोग यहीं कंप्लीट करते हैं, नेक्स्ट हम लोग बाद में करेंगे.